Welcome to the Late Night Film Series weekly podcast with Alex, and I got Paige and Evan here. You guys want to say hello?
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
We're here to talk about the movies this week, and it's a shorter week this week. We only got 4 films, but they're all really good. I haven't seen Oldboy, but I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, you're gonna stay with me to watch that one, dude.
Yeah, you've been talking about it since I met you like a year ago.
Oh my gosh, that was the first movie poster I actually made.
Oh really?
Late night. Yeah, it wasn't. We didn't show it that semester, but I just wanted to make one, so I went with Oldboy.
That's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
It seems incredibly violent from what I've seen, but in a really kind of cool way.
Yeah, it's there are scenes that are really violent. The majority of the movie's not, but the ones that are so violent that they stick out. So
yeah. The poster even makes it seem.
Yes, yeah. The poster is a pretty significant point in that film, but I won't say anything else about it. But if you see the poster, be looking out for that. So
okay, cool, sure. I really don't know that much about it at all.
It's a Korean film. It came out in 2003. Basically, this man gets, he has a daughter, and he's out with his friends one night, and he gets really drunk and passes out, and he wakes up in a room that he's never been in before. And then he spends the next 15 years of his life in this room. He never leaves it. He doesn't know who captured him or why. And then 15 years after his imprisonment, he gets released and wakes up on the roof of a building, and he crawls out of a suitcase, and he gets a cell phone call from the guy who captured him. And then after that, you just got to see it. It's like a story about revenge, but if you think you've seen a movie about revenge, this is going to wipe the floor with it. It's the best revenge movie ever.
That seems super intense.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's really intense.
Isn't there a remake now, or?
Yeah, by Spike Lee, but I haven't seen it. I've only heard bad things.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, nothing good.
Spike Lee is usually pretty good, but when you try to remake something, it usually doesn't work out.
His original works are good, but he probably should have left Oldboy alone, in my opinion. But yeah. I'm sure some people love it.
Especially if it only came out in 2003.
It's not even that old. It just now hit a decade, so last year.
Oh my god, a decade.
Yeah, we feel old, yeah. When you put it like that, it's like, geez.
2003 was a decade ago?
What?
And then the other, Burma VJ, based on our first film in the Burma Rising series, I'm super excited for, because that film was amazing.
Yeah, so the first one we had was Burma Soldier, and that one followed, soldier who was obviously in the military, and then he turned into a freedom fighter. Burma VJ kind of almost zooms out. It's a documentary that follows the kind of protests and revolution of sorts that happened, I think, in 2007, 2008 in Burma. And it was led by the Buddhist monks, of all people. They call it the Saffron Revolution because of their saffron robes. But yeah, and what's interesting about it is that this documentary was made using smuggled footage. None of it is actually a crew that goes in and interviews people. It's not clean cut or anything, but it's very much, people on the DL videotaping this stuff and things that didn't make it out to the mainstream. That's
really cool. You're gonna get some really raw footage, I'm sure. Then That's gonna be intense.
Especially, yeah, and because this is an event that most of the world didn't really take notice of, because Burma is, up until a year ago, was almost completely closed off to the rest of the world. Only now are they letting international corporations come in and start get up their tourist industry and everything. So it's definitely going to be interesting.
This is the last film in the series as well? Or we got
one more.
We got one more?
That one is called The Lady. It's not next week, but the week after. That's more of a Hollywood production, but it follows kind of the story of Aung San Suu Kyi, who is she's kind of the face of the democracy movement in Burma. So it tells her story, but it should be relatable. I mean, it's a big Hollywood production with pretty famous actors, so I thought it'd be nice to end the series with something a little more polished, a little more, we went from really gritty to personal life, and then the big kind of, revolution and kind of the big canvas of what was going on, and then focus on the kind of the Gandhi of sorts of Burma. Well, anyways, we'll see. But she's a big influence in Burma right now.
That'll be really cool. Yeah. We have a lot of good series this semester. The Burma series really that's a powerful one. I've been a big fan of the student hip hop organizations series. Got the we had the last one coming up this Friday. Was it this Friday? No.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Today.
Oh, Juice today.
Juice is today, yeah.
As we're recording it. Yeah. We just spilled that we record these on Friday. Yeah, that one's gonna be a lot of fun. And then I feel like I'm super out of the loop for saying this, but I haven't seen or read anything Hunger Games related ever. I think I'm the last person on the planet.
I haven't read anything. I just saw the first movie, so I guess if that's any solace.
How can I be in a room with you two?
That's pretty much the reaction I get when I tell anyone that.
I mean, I can see how some people don't like it, but I am definitely a sucker for like dystopian, like revolutionary novels. Don't follow me, NSA. But no, I think you'll definitely. I would suggest that you stay and watch it, but that's personal.
Even if you hasn't seen the first one.
Yeah, I think you'd get enough of it. There's enough so you kind of figure it out. This is kind of like the repercussions of the first one, but you'll understand enough of what happened in the first one. They covered enough, so you could definitely walk into this without really knowing much about it.
I wasn't particularly interested in the Hunger Games at all until I started talking to you, and you explained it very well. Like, cause I'm a political science major, so I like politics and dystopian stuff and 1984 and all that. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't really heard it in that context before. So now I really want to see the first one and then stay for this one this week.
I mean, it's definitely, of course it's a young adult novel, so you can either think it's just a book, for fun, or you can read into it a little bit. It's definitely applicable with what's going on kind of politically and like socially and all this. It's kind of, you can see it as it being kind of like a dystopian warning of sorts. Mm-hmm. Just the fragmentation of society. And
there's some authoritarianism involved, from my understanding as well. Correct?
Yes, yes. Yeah. President Snow and the Capitol are very much kind of the leaders and the string pullers. But I would definitely check it out.
Oh, I plan on it. Yeah, yeah, sure.
I mean, I can go into a big whole thing if you want me to, but...
if you want to. Yeah. No spoilers or anything, of course.
Oh, man, that's going to be hard. Well, I don't know.
You can spoil the first one, because if you haven't seen the first one by now, it's whoever's fault.
Well, it's different from the first movie. First movie was very kind of gritty, like at home, because like District 12 is sort of like the Appalachia, like coal miners and stuff. So it's like really gritty, really dirty, really down to earth, And then the second movie is really, I guess you would call it Hollywood-esque, but it's really polished and everything, and I guess you can almost say, like, it's like, they're moving from their home, and they're stepping up into, like, kind of like the Capitol, and now they're kind of playing their game, and it's about, they're pawns of the Capitol, but then how do they not be pawns of the Capitol?
Okay.
So it's kind of like, they know what's going on, so how can they not be victims in that regards almost?
See, that seems a lot more complex than I think a lot of people that haven't seen the Hunger Games think the Hunger Games is.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta sit down and think about these things.
So that'll be a really fun one as well. And then, of course, the thing that started the Hunger Games Battle Royale this Friday.
You can't mention Hunger Games and not mention Battle Royale. Mm-hmm. For anyone who's not familiar with that, it's basically the Japanese version of the Hunger Games, except I would say it's a Hunger Games ripoff, but it came first. But that doesn't necessarily make Hunger Games a ripoff of it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, they're different enough to where, they're completely different stories and everything. But along the same vein, like, it's about the Japanese government in the future. They round up a bunch of high school kids and put them on an island, and only one of them's allowed to survive, so they give them all weapons. And literally from there, it's a battle royale. And it's just a great movie. I think the year it came out, it was Quentin Tarantino's favorite movie of that year. It's got a lot of violence, just like Oldboy does. But, it's also just another classic. I saw that and The Hunger Games, and they were just both great. Like, I don't even have a favorite. They're so different, but they're so similar in that, like, it's all about basically making it out alive. And the endings are way different, and it's just a great movie. It really is.
It seems a lot grittier than Hunger Games.
Yeah. I don't recall any of the violence in the Hunger Games being straight up as like gritty. It would be a good word, but there's definitely a lot of grit to that movie.
Anything with Quentin Tarantino's stamp of approval is going to be a pretty violent film.
Yeah, exactly. He's the mastermind. So
I think definitely Battle Royale focuses on like the conflict in between like the contestants, like the students, whereas the Hunger Games focuses more on the conflict between these people and then the regime.
Yeah.
So it's going to focus a lot more on that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of like focus on like how messed up it is of the Japanese government to do it. Whereas like the Hunger Games is definitely a focal point. It's just like, you know, the faults in the system. You know, Battle Royale is more about like, you know, what's going on to these students at this exact moment.
Speaking of sequels, Battle Royale 2 is on Netflix.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So check out Battle Royale and then go home and watch Battle Royale 2, you know?
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
No, not yet.
I have not either.
It's
I
cute.
wish I had.
It's cute, though, on my queue, so we'll see how it turns out.
I know what I'm doing Friday night and then Saturday night now.
If it's as good as the first one, it should be great.
Yeah, I love it when a sequel stands up to the first one.
Yeah, which rarely happens, it feels like. But when it does, it just feels so good.
Yeah, like the Two Towers. I was worried about seeing the Two Towers after the Fellowship, and then Two Towers came out. I was just like, well, that was amazing.
Thank you.
So hopefully Battle Royale will be the same way.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. That's been the Late Night Film Series podcast. Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we have Oldboy. Thursday at 7, we have Burma VJ. Thursday at 10, Catching Fire. And then Friday at 10 o'clock, we have Battle Royale. And check out Battle Royale 2 on Netflix if you're interested in dig the first one. All right, check back next week for another Late Night Film Series podcast. See you at the movies.
Bye.
Yeah, this one's for the workers who